I will talk about what they don't tell you during a spiritual awakening, the things they don't tell you about spiritual awakening. There are like a list of things that I wish I knew before my spiritual awakening. And I'm gonna say I didn't write them down because some of them is like really I'm still learning through it. Like I'm still learning from some of the things that they didn't tell me, they didn't warn me about, and I wish someone would have said something, then I could have at least got prepared for it. So first let's talk about the healing process. Now, the healing process is a very long journey in itself. The healing journey is very, very long. You will be amazed of the amount of things that you constantly have to heal on this journey. Even things that you probably never realized it was a trigger for you, or something that really was causing you to behave in a certain manner or a certain way. It's absolutely crazy, before getting on this journey. And the second thing is healing from not only past childhood traumas, like family traumas, but also you have to prepare yourself if you was one of those people that used to have like a spiritual guide, or someone that was supposed to be guiding you or whatever. I made previous videos about this before, but one of the things you have to keep in mind and you have to realize is just because someone say that, like I always say, just because someone carry a title of spiritual person or have a title of a spiritual person, or even give themselves a title that they spiritual, does not mean they're spiritual for real. A lot of these people use spirituality as a front, to con people. A lot of people do that. They use that to con people, and you'll be amazed of the amount of people you wouldn't even expect would use this as a source of income for them. So meaning they find a way to manipulate you. They find ways to manipulate you. They find ways, especially if you're not the type of person that's really like knowledgeable about spirituality, or you're just getting into it and you're trying to find your way. You will, before you actually find your right path, you would have to go through the con artists, the shysters, the cutthroats. Because I could tell you, I've went through all of them. I went through all of them, and I was the type of person that was very, very, very naive when it comes to spirituality. I thought back then, when you are a spiritual person, you can't do no wrong in my eyes. There's no way. You like, to me, like, spirit is so sacred. Those things are very sacred to me that I feel like you cannot do no wrong. There's no way someone could have that type of title and manipulate people, use people, and doing all these things, those tactics, to get you to do things that you shouldn't be doing. But unfortunately, I was one of the person that was used a lot in that sense. And I'm not ashamed of it. I am proud of it, because if it wasn't for those experiences, I wouldn't understand the whole thing or the whole concept of spirituality. You understand? And it made me realize, just because someone say, oh, I'm spiritual, I'm a high priestess, or I'm a priest and all that stuff, does not make it true. One thing I've also realized on my journey is that being manipulated by those type of people really will open your eyes. It's really pushing you towards your path. Believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, it really pushes you to find your right path. Honestly, you have to be able to have discernment when it comes to the spiritual world. You have to be able to have the discernment, because the devil is in the details. Look at the person lifestyle You know, that's one thing I did not have back then. You know, I thought the person is spiritual, they're a priest or they're a priestess or whatever, and you know, they're supposed to be here to help people. But some people have the gift of helping people when it comes to that, and some people don't have the gift, but they pretend they have the gift to help others. And what they do is they have the gift of manipulation. They have the gift of you know, lying and, you know, and deceiving people. That's the gift that they have, is those type of gifts. And like I said, believe it or not, it was one of the best experiment for me, and it kind of really showed me like what I don't want to become and what I don't want to do, you know. And if that's something that you're trying to pursue, like you're trying to do, you know, trying to like make money and stuff like this, and trying to do it, you know, trying to make money off of it, then maybe this is something that this is the path you should be going to. But if you're like someone that really want to help people, you really have the passion to help people, and you're really trying to help people because you know how hard it is out there, you know, when you're dealing with certain things. Another thing is the trauma that I was having. I really thought when I got into the spiritual community, I thought when you find these spiritual guides or whatever, they could help you with some of the traumas, with some of the things that you are actually dealing with in the inside. And I found out it's not true. Because in order for someone to tell you where your situation is coming from, where your problem is coming from, they would have to go through that step themselves. A majority of these people never went to that step. They just gave themselves a title, and you know, they do all types of, you know, spiritual work and all that stuff, and it looks fascinating and it looks nice. Don't get me wrong, I myself was the type of person, I'm like, oh, this person look like they know what they're doing, let me go over there. And then something would happen and I'm like, no, that's kind of sketchy, let me go over there. You understand? So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by what someone is showing you. Don't let your eyes deceive you. Use discernment. Okay? Use discernment. A spiritual person cannot help you heal if themselves, they haven't healed. Before you can even actually help anyone, you have to go through the shadows. You have to do shadow work. You know, you have to actually go back in your past to heal some of the things that you holding on to that you don't share with anybody. And I thought that, you know, when the person have, you know, the spirit come in their head, like they could actually pinpoint, you know, where my trouble is coming from. Why am I feeling the way I feel on the inside without me even sharing that with you? That was not true at all. That was not true at all. Because you got to know some of these things is gift. You have to have the gift to do that. You have to have the gift to help people. I don't care what the person is telling you. I don't care what they're showing you. I don't care if they're telling you they know how to take the rainbow from the sky and bring it down. I don't care. If the person doesn't have the gift to help you, to heal you, the healing gift, there is nothing that person can do for you. In fact, the only thing that person can help you do is do the same thing they're doing. Is go on the same path that they're heading. You understand? Some of these people are spiritual vampires. Some of them are connected with different type of entities, and you will not know. You will not know. Some of them will see the light in you, will see your pure energy, your pureness, and will use that for themselves. They will tap into your energy. If it's anything dark, oh, they're good at. Some of them are good at that. That is something they could do with their eyes closed. That is dark. That's their field, you know. But you know, some of them want to mask like they're helping. They want to help you. They're trying to guide you. And then when you deep in and you really see what they're into, and you have to have like some strong ass spirit guides, some strong ass spirit guide to remove you from that environment to bring you to the right environment. In my case, I always knew I was a little bit quirky, like I was a little bit different. I always knew that, but I just didn't know what it was. You know, I really didn't know what it was. But I was never afraid. You know, I was never the type to be afraid of anybody that, doing dark stuff. I was never afraid of that, because, where my family's from in Haiti, I don't know, I was just never afraid. It wasn't something that was, if I don't know anything, it probably like kind of, certain things will creep me out a little bit, and I'll question it, and I'm like, what? And then, but, I'll always find a way to like, okay, maybe this is not for me. Another thing, you have to be able to listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. You already being guided, but in a situation, you have to keep your eyes open to see, like really see what the person is doing. What the person is really doing to you. Because when the person is guiding you, they're helping you, you are giving them access to you, to your energy, to everything. They have access to you. So, your spirit guide, your ancestors, God, universe, whatever you believe in, they will allow a person to do certain things to you, but they can't do everything to you. They don't have that type of power. You understand? They don't have that type of power. They could do certain things, but they can't do everything to you. Certain things they are not allowed to. It would not even touch you. Especially if you're the type of person that's very pure-hearted, that has pure intentions, pure energy. You won't. The effect of spiritual attack doesn't really affect you as much when you are really protected. It doesn't really affect you as much. It will affect you in a certain way, but the way the person plays in their mind, they think it's gonna do, it doesn't do that. Because of who you are and who you're connected to. A lot of us don't understand that knowing who your ancestors is, or what they used to do, who, your bloodline is very important. Myself, I kind of knew a lot about my background, my father's side and my mother's side. So my great grandmother, which was a high priestess, she will always used to tell me, don't ever worry about people could do this and that to you. As long that you're in the right, there's nothing that can happen to you. Always put that in your mind. Until this day, I always have that in my mind. And that's why I'm here to tell you guys to always keep your hand clean. Keep your heart pure. That's the only way you will always be protected. Regardless, you will always be protected, but it's an extra when you're in the right, when you're not going out of your way to manipulate people, when you're not going out of your way to hurt people, when you're not sending like negativity towards anyone, when you are really standing in your truth and you are loyal to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Even though back then I didn't really know 100% or know a lot about my path and about myself, but one thing I did know, I know that I would never harm anybody. That's something that I never see they do in my family. So I knew I would never ever do that, because some of those things was taught. Some of these people that you see do this, that's because they saw someone doing that, and they feel like that's how they do things. I had people do so much black magic, and you will know when someone is attacking you spiritually. Believe it or not, you will know when someone is attacking you spiritually. You will know. You will feel it. You will know it. You will sense it. You will know. Something in you will tell you someone is doing something. And there's something that my great grandmother used to say how she would know when someone, like if you want to know who's attacking you. So I always remember it. So I always do it. When I feel like that, I'm like, okay, whatever, and sometimes the best thing you could do is to just ask your spirit team to protect you more. pray to God if if that's what you believe in. Pray to Buddha, pray to your higher self, pray to your ancestors for more protection, more shield over yourself. Don't go out of your way to destroy anybody. Don't go out of your way to hurt anybody. Don't go out of your way to do a lot of return to sender and all that stuff. It depends on what it is. Keep yourself secure. Keep yourself connected to your own spirit guide, because that's where your protection is. It's from your spirit guide. And you have to understand that a connection with your spirit guide, with your spirit team, with your ancestors is always the best thing. Always the best thing. Because that's who really protecting you in the spiritual realm. Another thing that I didn't realize is that sometimes the reason why some of the things the people do, black magic, whatever, spiritual attack, it can't affect you, it's because your ranking in the spiritual world probably bigger than them. You probably have high ranking ancestors and you don't know. So that's why a lot of times your ancestors, God, sometime will allow someone to do something to you and then bounce you back off of that, just to show them that you're not someone that, that they should be messing with. And sometimes people will know not to mess with you. They know, they see the signs, but they really believe in the illusion that the dark entity is telling them. They really believe in that, and they will go out of their way and do it. And what happened when you send an entity after someone and the entity realized that they cannot do the job, they cannot hurt this person, they cannot, it's forbidden, then that, that entity or spirit they send eventually will come back on them. Will eventually, want payment back because, you called them. So they want someone, So the game here is to be loyal to yourself, and to be faithful on your mission. Because regardless, all of us, we here on a journey, we're on a mission. This is what they're called to do. Is their mission is to try to stop you, and your mission is to not let them stop you and keep moving and keep going. And the connection is always going to be with God, the universe, your ancestors. Those are the connection that you need to always form and to make sure you built a grounded foundation with them, a solid relationship with that tribe, like your ancestors, God, Buddha, universe, whatever you believe in, is to truly believe in that, because the number one energy is love. Regardless of anything, is love. That's the highest frequency. When you have like an open heart chakra and you really do things out of the kindness of your heart, and you do things because you really want to help someone, or you really want good for someone, it's gonna show. No matter what you go through, you always bounce back. Let me tell you, I've been homeless before. I've taken people in my home before, and also people took me in their home before. But for the most part, I'm always humble. I'm always humble. I always bounce back on things. I always bounce back, no matter what happened to me, no matter what someone think they're doing to me, no matter what I've gone through. I'm always bouncing back. I'm always gonna bounce back, because it's not, root work or magic. It's my pure intentions. It's my pure intentions. Sometimes people do these things to you and it doesn't work, and they think, oh, what's so special about her? It's your purest intention. It's your pure energy that protects you. That's what they don't understand. It's your pure energy, and some of these people will literally hate you for that. just having pure energy, just by you being you, sometimes people will hate you for that. You know, they feel like you shouldn't have that. You know, you shouldn't have that, those type of protection, or you shouldn't have those type of gift, or whatever it is that you have. They think that you shouldn't have it because they should have it. And another thing, don't let, because the person is an adult, or they seems like they know what they're doing, to manipulate you, to make you think you don't know what you're doing. Someone could be 50 years old and you probably know more about the universe than them, because this probably not your first go around on this planet. And you gotta be careful when you are, let's say, a chosen one. I'm just gonna use that word. When you are, like, let's say, a chosen one, you gotta be careful not to go to all types of people, all types of spiritual people or spiritual practices, because it could really affect you if you're not careful. It could really, some people are so envious and jealous of you. They see the light in you, they see what you could become, and they want to destroy that light in you. They will go out of their way to make you do things, you know, to make you do certain sacrifices, just so you could lose your light, so you could be one of them. That's why it's very important to stay true to yourself. Very, very important. Because if I wasn't true to myself, if I didn't know who I was, if I didn't know who my family, you know, was, who my family is, who my great grandmother was, I could have been one of those people that would have fall into that same trap that I see a lot of people fall into. You know, some people, you know, would have the most beautiful energy, the most beautiful spirit, but the fact that they are connected to someone that's very dark and they don't know the person is dark, they become dark, and then they end up losing that light because of that mistake. I was one of those person that I didn't fall into that, because I once I see what you're about and I see what you're doing, I'm gonna stay away from you. Again, like I said, it is important that you build a solid bond with your ancestors. You build a solid bond with your ancestors, in you know, in God, you know, higher power, whatever. You built that bond and you hold on to that. Hold on to your light. Hold on to your light, because there's people out there that is gonna go out of their way to strip that from you. And you got to use your discernment. You got to be very smart. You got to be 2 steps ahead of them to not fall for that trap. Because that's how a lot of people fall. They're not paying attention, or they're not questioning things. They're not paying attention to the person that is guiding them, or their spiritual father, or their spiritual mother, you know. They're not paying attention to that. They're not paying attention to the person's, you know, life. Look at the person's life before you take any advice from any spiritual person. Pay attention. If you get that close to them, pay attention to their life. Pay attention to how, you know, when they're into situation, how do they deal with that? You know, when they get into a conflict with someone, what is the first thing they do? Do they go and get a candle and light it after the person? Ding, 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 ding. That's your sign right there. That's your red flag right there. You know, did they, you know, what do they do? You got to pay attention to them. You have to, don't just go because they're showing you a mask and you love the mask. Yeah, they look pretty. The dresses are beautiful. Everything looks so pretty and everything. But some of them have dark entities attached to them. Very dark. That's why you have to use your discernment. That's why it's important to use your discernment. That's why it's important to test a person. Test them out. You know, question them. Test them out. See what they're about. Put them through a test. You got to put them through a test so you could know who you're dealing with. I didn't do that in the beginning. I think that's why I end up in the situation that I had end up in. But I was lucky because, like I said, my heart was pure and, and I was very innocent. And I was very naive. But I got lucky, to have spirit team and protection and stuff to remove me out of that environment. How about if you're not so lucky? What do you do then? How about if you get so deep into it, you get so deep and caught up into the spiritual practice that you're doing or that they teaching you and that they, showing you, and you get so caught up and you can't go back. Then what? Well, you already caught up. Your hands is already dirty. You already do certain things. Yeah, you're gonna be forgiven, but at the end of the day, we all have to pay for our actions. We all have to pay for our actions. I am the type of person that I have people send me spiritual attack all the time. To stop me, to block me or block something in my life, or to make me lose something, or to make things doesn't work out for me or whatever, etc., etc. When you're connected, when you're very connected, you will know what's going to happen before it happened. So you could always be prepared when the attack comes. You know how to shield yourself. You know how to stand. I have people that will send people in my life just to see if what they're doing to me is working. I smile with them. I laugh with them. I even eat with them. I joke around with them, But I always keep an eye on them. Always keep an eye on them. And I always know the agenda. But when things like that happen to you and you feel something like that has happened to you, the best thing to do is stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself. Don't get in the battle without knowing, why the battle is presenting itself to you, And that's why it's always important when you listen to spirit. You listen to your spirit team. You listen to God when God says, okay, I'm going to isolate you right now. There's a reason why you're being isolated. There is a reason why he's pushing people out of your life. Sometimes when we lose people, when people are like falling out of our life, we get so lonely and stuff, and we get very lonely, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're so lonely, our phone is dry, no one is coming around, no one is checking up on you, and it's just you and your spirit or God. You have to be comfortable. You got to be comfortable. Every now and then, when you're on your spiritual path, the universe will isolate you. And every time they isolate you, it's for a reason. So don't force it. Don't fight it. When they start pushing people out, you see people start moving, listen. The universe see things that you can't see. And they hear things that you can't hear. So you got to trust the process and trust that your isolation is protection. Always trust that. Listen to your gut. That's why it's important to heal from your trauma, so you can start trusting yourself. When the universe is removing somebody out of your life, all of a sudden you start falling out with the person, or the person is just have been removed from, it was good a while ago, you was just having fun with the person, and now Now the person is being removed out of your life. It's for a reason. So the best thing to do is don't go back. I had a habit of going back to the people that was removed out of my life. But I was like, I want to hold on to them, and I'm learning now that you have to be able and you have to be willing to not control the situation. And if they go, let them go. Healing from your trauma is something that is very, very, very good for us, because it allows you to really have trust in yourself. Like, I would sabotage myself a lot. I would know something, but then I would doubt it. I would have doubt. I'm like, no, I don't think that's true. So I will always go against myself, but at the end, I always end up paying for it. For going against myself. And I was always right about someone. You have to be able and to be comfortable and to be okay when, at any given moment, things can end with you and someone. No matter how close you are, no matter how tight the bond is, no matter what plan you have, things could change. It doesn't mean the person is a bad person. It doesn't mean sometimes it doesn't mean the person did anything to you. It just, some people are just, passengers. They're just passing on by. They're not here to, to go with us where we're going. And whenever the universe keep removing the same people that you keep bringing back in and they keep removing it, pay attention. Pay attention. I'm learning that now. Pay attention. Pay attention. There's a reason why they keep removing that person. And every time you let that person in, they're going to allow that person to hurt you or do something to really hurt your feelings even more and more and more until you learn to let people go. You gotta not trying to attach too easily to people. And me, I'm a person, I get attached to people easily. I really do. I get attached very, very easily to people. And when it's time for them to go, I'm always, trying to hold on. And it's like, I know the person is about to be removed out of my life. It happens so much to the point, like, you start to know the signs, and it's like, you got to get in the habit of getting comfortable with it and be okay with it, and be okay with it. Because that person probably needed you to, to learn whatever they needed to learn. And the only way they will learn whatever it is that they need to learn is probably through you, So you gotta know that, not everyone is here to teach us a lesson. Sometimes people come in our life for us to teach them a lesson. So, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Healing our trauma is something that I always advocate for. I'm always telling people, like, you gotta heal, because I feel like when you heal, you could see better. You make better decisions when you healed. You're not making decisions based off, your trauma, based off what you've went through. You heal better when you heal, you make better decisions. Your judgment is better. You know who to allow near you, who not to allow near you. Because there's certain cycle you have to go through, and once you go through it, you master it. You're like, okay, you release it, and you're like, okay, I don't want to go through that no more. So now you know what to look for, in people when doing these times. So it's very good to heal, because your judgment is better, and you trust. In the isolation process, it's okay to not communicate with anybody. There's going to be time where you are really, really isolated. And every time, the universe or God or spirit, whatever, your ancestors are isolating you, it's always for a reason. It's never for play. It's always for a reason. It's either you going through another awakening, because you don't just go through one awakening. There's levels. And because the more you heal, the more level, the more up you go, the more knowledge you get, the more wiser you get. And you have to be willing to be isolated and disconnect from everybody. There's times I'm isolated and I don't tell nobody anything. They will call me, I don't pick up the phone, I don't answer no text, unless it's certain people, unless it's my son, that's a different story. But for the most part, I isolate, I find myself isolating a lot, and that isolation, sometimes you have to shed. There's, another layer of you that needs to be shed, that needs to go. You need to detach from certain things for a while, giving yourself time and taking a break from the outside world, from everybody, and just to figure you out, because you have to build a relationship. Like I said, you got to build a grounded, a firm relationship with yourself in this world, because you easily to be deceived by people if you don't build a relationship with yourself, and if you don't have discernment, you will be deceived. So you got to know that everyone is on their path, and along your path you are going to be connected to all types of people, and they're all part of your journey. And addressing certain things, addressing certain emotions. Before, when certain things would happen to me, when I'll go through certain things, I'll find things to distract myself so I won't think about it, or so I just won't feel it and stuff. But now, whenever I go through things, I if I have to cry, I'll spend like an hour crying, just to cry and cry and cry and cry. Because the more you let it out, and I would just start throwing the ball in the wall and cry and throw the ball and cry, just so I could let that out. And then it actually helps. That energy is not sitting, it's not really sitting in my body. So I know to just, find peace in that, and just be like, okay, all right, I'm okay now. I feel better. We've been taught to just be strong and keep moving and get to the bag, that we neglect ourselves. So on my journey, I've learned to really pay attention to myself and make time for myself, and know my boundaries, and know my boundaries with people and with myself, and learning how to say no, to people, and not explaining myself too much, because sometimes, when you're a people pleaser, you like to explain yourself, why you did certain things, and, why you're saying no and stuff like. So I'm learning how to say no, and that's it. I'm learning how to say that now. So that's something new for me. And also to not let my mind, control how I feel. If I feel something, I address it. It may not be understood right to you. Building the relationship with yourself and your spirit guide, everything will gonna start making sense. Everything is gonna start making sense to you. And you have to, like I said, when it comes to other people guiding you spiritually, you have to use your discernment. You have to heal before you do any type of spiritual practice, any type of spiritual things. Like, I have a online business. You know how many times I have to change my business, because I have to, every time I heal a layer of me, I make something, and it represent, something of my, going through my healing. When I made my tote bags with the goddesses, I just feel like all of them are different part of us in different healing stages, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like the water goddess, and with all these emotions I'm going through and stuff like that, and the more I heal, the more connected, the more you heal, the more connected you get, and the more connected you get, the more vision your spirit guide, show you. And you become very creative when you heal. You become very, very creative. So sometimes isolation is you finding your creativity, connecting back with yourself, finding your creativity, or getting to know your inner child, getting to know your spirit team, your spirit guide. Throughout my whole healing journey, my spiritual journey, I hear a lot about different type of goddesses or spirit guide and stuff. I hear a lot about them, but there's one that always stood out to me for some reason, and it's Ayizan. I name my business Ayizan. I name everything Ayizan because I remember going through certain things. That's the spirit guide that would always come, and majority of the time will come and trying to help me, guide me and heal me in a certain way when I go through tough times. And I would light a candle and stuff. And since I used to see her a lot, I would address certain things to her, and you find what works for you. What worked for me was candle. Candle worked for me. If you come to my home, there's candles lighting everywhere. I love candle because I feel like it brings a different type of energy in my home. It brings a calming, like a really calming energy into, it brings some type of peace within me when I light a candle, and when I address that candle with a specific, either ancestor or spirit team or God or the universe or whatever, because you find peace in that. Whatever that brings peace to you, I think you should hold on to that, because peace is priceless. That's something that you can't buy. So if something bring peace into your life, cherish it, So I used Ayizan a lot because very, very, very peaceful. And other spirit guides also, I use all of them. And again, if you need, candles, because these candles are like 7 days candles, and they're infused with essential oils, so they smell amazing. They smell very good. And again, the reason why I started my business and my whole practice, I'm also a Reiki healer, Reiki master, and I do hypnotherapy and all that stuff. The reason why I do all that stuff is because I believe you can only find yourself better when you healed. That's when you become the best version of yourself. So healing is very important to me, and I think we should utilize it. We should embrace it more, because we all are dealing with some type of trauma, and we shouldn't be afraid of saying, I need to heal, I need help. And the healing, like I said, from the beginning, the healing journey is one of the longest healing. You might think you're over something, and then the universe sent a test your way, and then you triggered again. So whenever something is triggering you, it's saying, okay, it's time for you to heal that, to find out why is that triggering you. And that's why I created my business. I have like a box. I don't have it right now, but I have a box, and I have the candles, the crystals, everything to help you connect with your own spirit guide. And I believe from experience, this is my opinion. Back then, when people would do things for me, when I would go to like practitioners and stuff like that, they would do things for me. Not everything would work. And if it did work, it probably worked for a little bit, I sometimes find it better now, when I do things myself, when I use my hand, my energy, it's a little bit more better. It's way better. I'm saying a little bit. It's way better than when someone else is doing it for us. So sometimes that's a sign also to let you know, hey, it's not that the person is not good. It just your energy is probably a little bit more stronger than the person. But since we are kind of lost on our spiritual path, we kind of need these people to, help guide us, That's why I say you got to heal and use discernment so you can start doing your own practice. Start doing your own practice. You could do your own thing. And that's why I created my spiritual box, my healing box, because we heal in stages. We heal in stages. And the more we heal, the more layers we release, and the more we dig deep, and the more we start discovering about ourselves. And then when you start discovering certain things about yourself, you start to realize, like, it's not that the person cannot help you and stuff. Maybe your energy and their energy do not match. Your energy and that other person's energy do not match. Your rank is probably a little bit higher than the person. You probably have a little bit more ranking spiritual team than the person. There's a lot of things that could take place. So I always think it's always best to do your own work, and not go to certain different people and have people keep tapping into your energy. Let me explain this, right? As a Reiki practitioner, you have to, you have to balance the person's energy, balance the person's chakra. Now, keep in mind, when a person comes to you, it takes a couple of sessions for things to be stabilized, for you to, for the energy to settle and to be influenced, because what you're doing, you're manipulating energy in the chakra system. So you are removing the energetic, the blockages the person have. And that's why it's important to have a balanced chakra. It's very important to have a balanced chakra, because let's say your heart chakra is blocked. If your heart chakra is blocked, well, a lot of things not going to come easy in your life. You're going to be very stagnant, because the heart chakra is a big chakra. It has to be open to, to receive better, to receive beautiful abundance and prosperity. Because keep in mind, our chakras is connected to to what we're trying to manifest. If you have an unbalanced chakra somewhere, like your root chakra is probably unbalanced, your crown chakra is unbalanced or blocked, whatever, it's going to be a little bit hard for you to manifest things, especially when it comes to, to prosperity and abundance in your life, because you have an unbalanced chakra. You got to work on those first before you can start manifesting, material things to come into your life. Now, some people don't have to do that. Some people just manifest things and it comes easy. But keep in mind, sometimes when when your abundance come, it's tied to something. If you have like a lot of chaotic energy, your abundance is gonna be tied to something that's gonna be draining you. It's gonna be tied to something that's very chaotic. It's gonna also tie to a chaotic energy, because that's the energy that you're manifesting out of, that chaotic energy. So it's always good to always trying to consistently cleanse out our chakra system, balance our chakra in our energy, and stay consistent at it before trying to manifest, abundance, like big things. Because again, let's say your crown chakra is blocked, or is blocked, or is stagnant, or whatever. Well, you're going to have a problem connecting with in the spirit world. You're going to have a problem connecting with your spirit team. You're going to have a problem receiving information from your ancestor, from your spirit team, because your crown chakra is blocked. There's fogginess going on. You're not able to receive any information from your spirit team, because your crown chakra is out of balance. It's blocked. So you can't receive any creativity. You can't receive any spiritual message, or because 9 out of 10, when your crown chakra is blocked, your third eye is most likely gonna be blocked. So it's really important for us to work on our chakras. It's very, very important to work on our chakras, because that's the key to sometimes us manifesting, the things that we want. It's all connected. So, taking care of ourselves, taking your healing journey seriously, healing some of the traumas that you are holding on to, letting go of some of the things that no longer serve you, are one of the things that very important. And I can't stress this enough about, healing. I can't stress it enough. Another thing you should avoid while you're on your journey, going to different spiritual practitioners. You have to give yourself time to learn more about yourself. If you've gone to 1 or 2 spiritual practitioners, okay, don't go to a third one. Don't go to a third one. You are going to be very confused, and you are going to create more problems for yourself. So try not to go to different type of spiritual practitioners when you're on your journey, or before you go in your journey. Don't make it a habit to hop from one practitioner to another practitioner to another practitioner. Be mindful, because these are your energy that you're like spreading out. Don't give too many people access to your energy. Don't allow people to keep dipping and dabbing, into your energy. So it's always good, like I always said, do the healing work yourself, do the things yourself, connect with yourself. It's okay to get advice from certain people. Study the practitioner before you go. See what they're about. Test them out. Test their energy to see if you and that person is matching. They're on the same frequency as you. Because the more practitioners you go to, the more people that's dabbling in, dipping and dabbing in your energy, and that can create confusion and problem for you, not for them, for you. So you got to be, again, mindful and careful on, how you spread out your energy, because your energy is very sacred, and you don't know that you might be a chosen one. You might have a greater purpose on this planet. You might be part of the person that's supposed to help the planet, frequency go higher. You might be a healer or whatever. So you can't just be going from practitioners to practitioners to practitioners. Don't do that, because I did it, and it's not a good thing. You are creating more karma for yourself. You are connecting yourself to people that you don't know what they got going on. So it's a good thing to just, heal, connect with your spirit guide, connect with your ancestor, create a healing sacred space in your home for yourself where you could pray and be consistent with your healing, so you can connect yourself to your own spirit, to your own spirit guide, to your own spirit team. Okay? So I hope this video was helpful. Until next time, bye.